So today we'll be introducing you to Deutsche Werkbund, a pivotal design movement that emerged in early 20th century Germany and whose legacy can be felt deeply in this very space, the Museum of Things in Berlin. To understand the Werkbund, we have to begin with the massive shifts of the Industrial Revolution. During the 19th century, industrialization radically transformed how goods were produced. Where craftsmanship and ornament once defined household objects, the machine introduced standardization, speed, and efficiency, but at the cost of aesthetic and cultural value. Design became increasingly utilitarian and often soulless. Ornamentation was dismissed as unnecessary, and beauty was sacrificed for profit. This led to growing concern that industrialization was not only degrading the visual environment, but also the human experience. In response, the arts and craft movement emerged in Britain around 1860s, led by William Morris. Morris believed in the moral and social importance of good design, and he saw craftsmanship as a way to resist the alienation caused by industrial labor. While Morris was deeply critical of mass production, he didn't reject it entirely. He imagined a world where even the machine-made objects could be guided by the artistic intention and human values. These ideas traveled across Europe and took root in different contexts. In Germany, a country that was rapidly modernizing and industrializing at the turn of the 20th century, unique interpretation of the arts and crafts ethos emerged. In 1907, the Deutsche Werkbund, or German Work Federation, was founded in Munich by a group of designers, architects, and industrialists, including Hermann Muthesius, Peter Behrens, and Henry van der Velde. Unlike Morris, the Werkbund didn't reject the machine. Instead, they sought to reconcile craftsmanship with the industrial production, believing that a high-quality, aesthetically coherent design could be mass-produced and accessible to all.
Let me introduce you to the Werkbund Archive, Museum of Things, or in German, Werkbund Archive Museum der Dinge. This is a museum entirely devoted to the material culture of the 20th and 21st centuries, an era shaped more than any before it an industrial mass production. The archive began in the 1970s when collecting started. Now, the name Museum of Things, which was officially adopted in 1999, points to something specific. It's not just about preserving design, it's also about engaging with the entire material and product culture of the last century. Since those early days, the museum has collected historically significant design objects, items, and archival material. Each of these objects tells a story about our modern everyday life, particularly how it's been shaped by commodity culture. Today, the collection holds around 25,000 objects. The German Werkbund movement, which inspired this museum, had a few core principles: quality, appropriate use of materials, practicality, functionality, and sustainability. The museum operates with a dual perspective. On one hand, it's an exploration of what design is really about: material, form, function, and fundamentals. On the other hand, it critically examines marketing, branding, corporate strategies, labels, and designer names. In the end, the Museum of Things offers us a chance to look differently at the objects around us, to ask ourselves not just what we like, but what we value and why.
Around 1907, Peter Behrens became the artistic consultant for AEG, where he designed everything from logos to buildings, but most importantly electric appliances such as kettles and fans. Let's take the AEG electric kettle for example. Unlike the overly decorated designs that were common at the time, Behrens stripped it down to its pure geometric form, which included clean curves, clear proportions, and small surface decoration. It was beautiful, but the beauty came from functionality and industrial logic, not decoration. The same goes for the electric fan. The exposed metal blades, the functional base, and the absence of decoration were shocking to some people at the time, but to the Werkbund, this was the future. It was a product of purpose, simplicity, and it was easy to mass produce. What Behrens demonstrated was that mass-produced objects could still have artistic value as long as their form emerged from their function. And in doing so, he helped lay the groundwork not only for the Frankfurt kitchen, but for all modern product design. Here we can see what shaped out to being one of the more transformative rooms of the 20th century, the Frankfurt kitchen, which was designed in 1926 by Margaret Schutte-Lehotzky. At first glance, it might look like a compact, efficient kitchen, but in fact this space marks a big shift in design history. transition from ornamentation to functionality in everyday objects, a transition which was shaped by the ideas of the German werkbund. Let's look at the space. Everything here, every drawer, cabinet, and counter is designed for efficiency, not display. Let's take the work surfaces, for example. They're smooth, easy to clean, and free of decoration. In a 19th century kitchen, you might find space for all sorts of decorative elements, but not here. Schütte-Liotzky removed all visual clutter to make the space hygienic, organized, and purely task-oriented. That's a direct reference to the werkbund values, which was to eliminate ornament to make way for purpose-driven design. This is why this kitchen was designed after studying industrial workflows, just like a factory. The layout minimizes steps, ingredients are stored in standardized containers, and there are pull-out surfaces that expand the working area without the need for additional furniture.
In many ways, the werkbund was a utopian project. The goal was to elevate the public taste, improve the quality of life, and strengthen Germany's position in the global economy by uniting industry and art. They believed that everyday objects, whether a teacup, a chair, a lamp, or even a factory building, could and should be beautiful, functional, and socially responsible. Design was not just about the surface decoration, but about shaping culture. They believed in good design that shapes society, that form follows function, that design should be honest, and mass production isn't the enemy. This was revolutionary thinking, and the werkbund aimed to standardize forms, promote simplicity, and eliminate excessive ornament, not out of a love for minimalism per se, but as a way of democratizing beauty and fostering a new visual language for modern life. In this way, the werkbund prefigured key ideas of modernism, including the principles that would later guide the Bauhaus. Its influence was far-reaching. Werkbund members were involved in major architectural and design projects, and their ideas culminated in several important exhibitions. The Werkbund exhibition in Cologne is often seen as a defining moment, a showcase of modernist architecture and industrial design, including Bruno Taut's glass pavilion, which embodied transparency, innovation, and utopian thinking. Later, in the Paris exhibition, Werkbund designers and architects, among them Mies van der Rohe or Le Corbusier, presented international visions of modern housing and urban planning, highlighting how design could shape not only objects but entire ways of life. But this vision came under threat with the rise of Nazism. Modernist and internationalist aesthetics were increasingly condemned as degenerate. The werkbund's progressive ideals, its openness, its focus on function over nationalistic symbolism were incompatible with the fascist worldview. In 1933, the werkbund was formally disbanded under Nazi rule. Some of its members went into exile, others retreated from the public life. The Bauhaus, a spiritual successor to the werkbund, was similarly shut down just a year later. Despite this rupture, the werkbund legacy survived. After World War II, the group was re-established in 1947 as the Werkbund West Germany, continuing its mission and promoting socially engaged design.
Bloopers. Welcome to our channel. Welcome to our channel. Today we are showing werkbund products.
Kettles.
Because one leg was probably broken. Oh.
Oh no, our table is broken. Design for people.
Design. Good design for everybody.
Good design.
Someone's still serious.